So I was interested to see if our agenda would be in violation because we indicated a rezone and I reviewed his application and it mentions nothing about a rezone request. He's requesting for variance from existing setbacks. So I don't know if Mr. Nahum's on the line, but I'd like us to verify that actually in effect that we can take action on this tonight. If not, I think it sounds like it might be a consensus of the council to table this to further review, but I'd like to defer to Mr. Nahum.
Good evening, Councilor, Honorable Mayor. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, well, it sounds like there's some issues with this agenda item, and I agree with Councilor Vigil that if the applicant was seeking a variance and the agenda says that it's a rezone, I'd have some issue with that in terms of the reasonable specificity. So it does sound like this item may need to be tabled or postponed or sent back down to the Planning Commission for review before it comes back up to the council to get everything straightened.
So with the recommendation from Councilor Ritchie, the maker of the motion, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, would you like to remove that item from the agenda for today's meeting?
Yes, I'll amend my previous agenda, removing item F until we have some clarification on that issue.
And the seconder was Councilor Manny Martinez. Are you okay with that amendment?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, very well. Are there any other discussion items regarding today's agenda? Okay, very well. Mr. Hussein, thank you very much for giving us that piece of information. We have a motion to approve the agenda without the public hearing letter F and a second from Councilor Manny Martinez. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Very well, we have today's agenda set. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. We have the October 26th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez with a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Very well, the consent agenda is accepted. We'll next move on to public comments. Excuse me 1 second. All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Serrano, who do we have signed up for public comment?
We have Mr. Jose Archuleta.
No, I apologize. Okay, that was the public hearing. All right, very well. We have before us Mr. Dwayne Herrera. No? Oh, that was the sign-in sheet. Gotcha. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for public commentary? Yes, please come on up. And for the record, make sure to state your name and we'd be happy to hear your comments, sir.
Thank you. My name is Jason Romero. I'm the owner of the property for the rezone request.
Oh, I apologize. Can you do a favor for me? Make sure that the mic is on. There you go. Is it green?
It seems to be on.
Okay, great. Great.
Okay, like I said again, my name is Jason Romero. I am the owner of the property in San Pedro that we're requesting a rezone. And after listening to the comments, I'd like to actually express my comment is that my initial application was for a rezone, and that was filed with Mr. Hussein. And so we do have an application. I'm not sure what happened from the application time to here, but we had an application for a rezone. We also sent out public notices to the adjoining neighbors that stated rezone. We had a note placed on the property which said rezone. So I'd like for you guys to take that into consideration that the original application, the public notice, and the notice placed on the property all stated rezone. So I'm not sure if there's confusion somewhere or somewhere along the line, something didn't get uploaded. However, it was for a rezone.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, please, welcome. Have us make sure to mention your name for the record.
Jose Archuleta, 803 Middle San Pedro Road. And I'm the property adjacent to Mr. Romero's. The posting that was on the fence on the property was for the October 14th meeting, not for this meeting. And that was for a rezone that was tabled by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Any item that's tabled according to Robert's Rules of Order has to be brought up at the next meeting because it's still an action item that's left on the table and needs to be taken care of. That item has not been brought up against at P&Z. This item was brought directly to the council. Now, if you're going to set a precedence and hear this without going to the P&Z, what's to keep other people from bypassing the P&Z completely and coming to the city council every time? We also did not get we got public notice for the meeting in October, but we did not get any notice for this meeting tonight. We did not receive any type of certified letter that this meeting was taking place on the rezone. And my understanding that on a rezone, all neighbors within 200 feet of the property have to be notified with a certified letter. Now that's what's going on. I don't have a problem with Mr. Romero wanting to use that property.
It's lost.
This commission can, this is council on this issue, can make a decision on something that hasn't been decided on. And there is no recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission whether to approve or to deny, because that item was tabled. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go next to Milena Archuleta.
Hello and good evening to Mr. Mayor and council members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm also live adjacent to the property that's currently in question. And my father is Jose Archuleta, and he basically covered a lot of what I was going to say in terms of we never got notification, and the notification was for an October 14th meeting and not for this meeting. But secondly, I would like to implore our new planning and zoning director, Mr. Hussein, to educate himself a little bit further on this property and the problems that we have had with the zoning in this community in terms of being basically kind of intermixed residential and commercial. And I also want to thank Mr. Ritchie for bringing up these concerns, because that's the concern of the Middle San Pedro Road, is that we have basically spot zoning occurring. And so I would just like to ask that before he brings further rezoning requests, that Mr. Hussein educate himself on the history of this road and the problems that we have had in the past with the zoning problems. Thank you.
Do we have any other commentary from anybody within the chambers or out in the public? I will do a quick scan. You're welcome to make a very quick comment, and then we'll move on.
Jason Romero again, property owner. The biggest concern about this property is it seems like it's been bounced back and forth. Mr. Archuleta, his daughter, a lot of folks have concerns for it, and we've heard it. It seems like nobody's really sure exactly what to do with it. And I'd implore the council to take a look at it and see if we can actually listen to the details. And we are all in agreement that there's bigger zoning issues in Espanola. We're all in agreement with that. And by making a decision on this property is not in any way going to inhibit or block any development. If nothing else, we have an opportunity to actually complement the plan that the city of Espanola has. So instead of going back and forth and thinking, well, we don't know this, or can you do a setback? Can we do this? we really want to keep the same use, which is residential. We would like to continue that use. I mean, historically, it's been like that. We've talked about it, but this shouldn't be a property that keeps getting punted somewhere down the road, because we are at a place where now it is affecting our rights as the owner. And if we were to sell or transfer, it's going to affect somebody else's. So it's always going to be a thorn. It's always going to be something. And we do have an opportunity here to actually complement the plan that the city puts together.
I agree.
This is why we're in place. So I hope that you guys please take that into consideration, whichever way we go, that we see that we look at this as an opportunity rather than to argue or say this or that. Just try to get something solved.
And I appreciate that. And we still have the public hearing that we will eventually have to hear. So I'd like to perhaps wait and push any further commentary to that platform for anybody else who would like to give that opportunity. So thank you very much, and we'll move on.
Thank you.
All right. Very well. Anybody else out there? Okay. So we'll go on next to any committee chair updates and counselor comments. Counselor John Ramon Vigil.
Thank you. Plaza Foundation met last night. It was nice. Counselor Benavides joined me. Plaza Foundation reorganized. The new chairman of the foundation is Mr. Lupe Garcia. Mr. Peter Valdez is the vice chair. Miss Ana Del Sanchez is the secretary, and the treasurer is Miss Lillian Maestas. Mayor, this board is the financial nonprofit arm that sought to develop the plaza. I think they're trying to get reorganized and get re-energized and setting vision and goals for the future outlook of downtown. And so exciting to see where they're hoping to be. And it was a great turnout. And I think Councilor Benavides enjoyed herself. They have a good chunk of money to use for seed money. And I think it's important that we work with the city to collaborate with them to see the overall vision for the plaza and see that it comes to fruition.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention this past Saturday on the 30th, we did have the Espanola Valley Arts Festival contest winners reception, and we just wanted to congratulate and well, first of all, thank all the entries that we had. We had one from Isaac Romero, Sherry Aragon, Eugene Vigil, Victor Garcia, Michael Martinez, Kathleen Salazar, Tessa Fresquez, and Bernardo Valdez. And the winner for this year's 2021 poster was Tessa Ortiz y Fresquez for her entitled Rick's Hollyhocks. And we want to thank her and all the participation that we had with these great artists from the Valley. And we also want to thank our judges, Mr. Eric Quintana, the Honorable Mayor Javier Sanchez, Gabriela Silva, Kenneth Variad, Honorable Alexandra Naranjo, and Julianne Barbie for their participation as judges this year. We will have the 2021 poster available at the gallery at the Covento. We should have some by this end of this week. So if anybody is interested, we will have them there for sale. And I just wanted to give a thanks to them. And of course, a thanks to Community Services for everything they did and for helping out, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Counselor. Do we have any other? Oh, Counselor Denise Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be quick. I just wanted to give a quick update. I did join Councilor Vigil last night for the Plaza Foundation meeting, and it's a great group of people. Some people I've worked with in the past. I was honored to be there. I hope to do some good work in improving the plaza. I think that we've let it go by the wayside just a bit. I did talk a little bit to Director Maestas, and when we have events, they're just being really cognizant about not letting people park up on the actual property itself because it's ruining what's left of the poor lawn out there. So I wanted to mention that. Quickly, no update on finance. Finance board was at the last council meeting. Q1 went good. We anticipate Q2 looking well. I did also want to mention that December the 11th, I've partnered with Commissioner Henry Roybal. We are doing a food box drive. We'll be collecting donations and filling food boxes. So I'd like to invite my fellow councilors to join us. We'll be delivering also on that day, the 11th, Santa Fe County is partnering with us and several other individuals from the community. So if anybody out there wants to join us, we'd be happy to have you. I wanted to just mention, I've been working closely with State Representative Herrera. We have now received or will receive in July funding to the extent of $242,000 to pay for the communication system at the police department. Her and I will be working together with the mayor and some others on a new project she is going to help us with to fully revamp the entire 911 system to the tune of, we think, 2.2 million. No updates on broadband. We hope to have some kind of an answer, we hope by the end of this week, as to what the award was for us. We hope to receive the entire 15 million, but there were a lot of people that went after this money, but there's a lot of money coming down the pipe. I know Mayor's working towards receiving additional funding. I am also going to work on receiving additional funding so that we can continue with our broadband project and bring that to our community. Santa Fe County will also be going after another 5 additional grants so that we can fulfill the obligation to our community to bring Wi-Fi that is most desperately needed here. Lastly, I want to just invite my entire council and the mayor to an event that we're having on Sunday from 2 to 5 for my niece, who is currently battling breast cancer. I see her on the line. Love you, Dee. So if you have some free time on Sunday afternoon, please join us. I want to take time to thank Councilor Manny Martinez. I'm told he's going to be providing some music for us. So thank you so much, Councilor, for that. That's it, man.
Thank you very much, Counselor. All right. Now we'll move on to matters from the mayor. Just a quick update is having a conversation with Congresswoman Ledger earlier today, and we were talking about infrastructure needs for the city. We're talking about what we plan, including things like broadband and roads, all of the things that are most important to us, but also to include water and wastewater. But back to what we spoke about earlier, the earmark money that the Congresswoman has placed specifically for the city of Espanola to receive for broadband is almost $900,000. And once a federal budget is signed, we should be getting that allocation. And we were talking a little bit about what that could mean for the city and how quickly we'd be able to get those expenditures to us. And it'll be just a matter of either using budget money or infrastructure money. We have about $100 million worth of broadband money that is coming to the state of New Mexico. So in addition to any kind of wireless broadband network that the city would like to implement, as Councilor Benavides mentioned, we're looking at about $5.5 million in extra grant money that we will be finding out about over the next several weeks, hopefully this week. In addition to that, we'd like to make sure that the city is also ready to go and has the ability to partner with anybody when it comes to fiber. So we're hoping that any extra money can go toward those partnerships and make sure that people not only have wireless opportunities, but also fiber. In addition, we're talking about perhaps accelerating any projects that the city has. With CARES Act money, we were able to get many programs shovel ready so that when that infrastructure money does come down the pipeline, and we knew that it would be coming down, that those projects could be funded as soon as possible. So those were just some talking points that the Congresswoman and I had, and I'd invite anybody else to join in any of those conversations after we speak, or if you'd like to discuss what else is of a priority, that would be great, so that we can continue to do all of the things that we need to. Councilor Benavides, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple more things. I wanted to mention that you and I, Director Ortiz and Ursula Atencio, did meet this morning with the audit firm. The city will be undergoing its audit. We don't anticipate any findings. So just so that my fellow councilors know, audit will begin. And then I did want to ask City Manager if he could set up a work session for sometime mid-December. I'd like to bring the entire council up to par on the broadband project. I see Diana Marquez on the line as well. We'd like to update, let everybody know what the budget was that we came up with, that we sent in. And just to kind of bring everybody up to par so that everybody can understand the scope of the work and what's been done thus far. So if City Manager, you could get that done for us, I'd appreciate it.
All right, very good. Now we'll go on right there to matters from the city manager.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
My apologies that I'm not the present for this meeting. I'm currently in Albuquerque attending a class through Thursday. So I just got out of class now at 4:30 this evening, and it would be a little bit difficult to drive down there. But I thank you for taking the time to listen to a few things that I have to show to the governing body. So before you, I am presenting a proposal to for closure of the city hall and city facilities for the holiday break for 4 days, the last week of December, meaning December 27th and 28th, to allow individuals to get admin leave, and December 29th and 30th, individuals to use vacation if they'd like to take that whole week off. So the closure would commence at close of business on Thursday, December 23rd, and come back open business as usual on January the 3rd, 2022. Before you, I stand for any questions.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Mayor, could we have some public, the administrative days are days that people take off of their own administrative time. That's just not what the city provides, correct?
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, a good question. So admin leave is time that's provided to the employees by the city. And that would be for a request of a total of 16 hours for the last week. And then the other 16 hours would be provided vacation hours by the employee for a total of 4 days off for the closure of City Hall.
So it's not their own, personal leave days that you're talking about on the 27th and the 28th. These are days that the city is actually giving to them?
That's correct. And this has been done for the 5 years that I've been here with the city.
Are we voting on this, Mayor, or just as an action item?
Well, this is the approval of the closure schedule, so it is something that we are approving.
I'm gonna
Make a motion
so
to
that we
approve.
can go ahead and hear it, Mayor, to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion of approval from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez with a second from Councilor Manny Martinez. Do we have discussion?
Under discussion.
Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, sorry.
Thank you, City Manager Martinez. You know, the issue that I have, and I've had this issue for a while now with the city providing the administrative days. We give the employees 10 days of vacation time throughout the year. I know that these comments probably don't make me the favorite counselor of the city employees, but my job on this council is really to represent my constituents. So I would be remiss if I didn't say what I need to say. So it's my understanding that anti-donation for City of Espanola or any governing agency is not to exceed $50 to any one person. So I'm not sure that doing this, if their salary is over $50, and I think most employees do earn more than $50 in an 8-hour shift. So I have concerns about the legality of just giving up administrative days like that. We do have the 10 days that we allow for. I think it's even 11 that we allow for on the regular schedule. I don't have an issue with them having the time off if they take their time. But I don't like just giving them time to go. I mean, that's just the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Do we have any other? Councilor Didi Valdez, go ahead.
I just have a question. How many administrative days are the employees given in a year?
Councilor Didi Valdez. So that varies. So a lot of times it's up to the city manager's purview. So a lot of time if there's inclement weather, it could be 2 hours or even the whole day of when the city closes if the inclement weather is severe. That would be 8 hours of admin. So there's not a set time or hours of admin leave that the city gives employees for the year.
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez, go back to you. Counselor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. Although I understand Councilor Martinez's comments, what I also see is there's many times that employees, although they're getting paid for an 8-hour day, many times they put in more than that and they don't claim those hours worked. And I think allowing them this administrative leave is a good way of showing them that we appreciate those hours that they do. There are plenty of times that I'm sure they either don't go to lunch or maybe take a short lunch or don't take any breaks to be able to get the work that they need to get completed. So I think it's a good way of showing an effort to the city employees that we appreciate them, sir. Thank you.
I'm going to withdraw my motion and let somebody else approve that, sir. Thank you.
Motion to approve, sir, for follow-up.
Second.
All right, so we have a withdrawal of the original motion from Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez. We have a new motion for approval from Counselor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. For discussion, Counselor Justin Salazar Torres.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable City Manager, how does the police department and fire fit into this holiday leave?
Great question, Councilor Justin Salazar Torres. So below on the this proposal, anybody or any city employee that has been asked to work during those admin days can use those at a later date and has the time to use them before the end of the February of 2022. So if there's an individual has asked to be to work either the 27th or 28th, those that day, they can cash or save it on later on to use that before within the next 2 months of the following year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Counselor Denise Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. Back to Councilor Didi Valdez's question, City Manager, the only issue that I have is that the answer to Councilor Valdez's question was that there are no set admin days, so there's no consistency across the board. So it's at your discretion to approve for each individual whatever they wish to have approved. I mean, is there not an HR policy that states specifically what admin is, what it does, and what time any individual can take? I can see the fire department and the PD being different because they're union employees. So I think that's a whole other set of questions in itself. Oh, I see.
So go right ahead, Ms. Baxter.
Honorable Mayor, City Councilors, admin leave with pay is a category that includes several different uses. We have military leave, we have jury duty leave. All of these are coded as admin leave with pay. So it's a certain amount of variability based on the employee may be called up for jury duty. We're not sure how many. We have a number of employees in the National Guard who do their 2 weeks training every year, but we don't really know until those numbers come up. Admin leave also includes snow delays, and it would include the holiday closure. And I believe that's what the city manager meant, because we don't have any way of gauging the number because it's a broad category.
Just to follow up on that, and then we'll go to Councilor Ritchie. How many holiday paid days are there throughout the year again?
We have 13, which includes an employee personal day.
Okay, Councilor Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. I was questioning. This is my third year going into the holiday, and we're questioning it now. I respect the concern and questioning of it. Then I just ask that we bring this up. If it's a concern to the council, that we bring it up next year and discuss regarding admin leave. But for right now, we're already going into the holiday and it has been standard practice. And so I think we can, again, address it next year if it is concern of this council of correcting or changing the admin leave.
Counselor Benavides?
For follow-up, Mayor, thank you so much. And, you know, I agree with that for now, but I just think there needs to be clarification. And I thank Sally Director, should I say, for that clarification. But I think, you know, we really need to be a bit more specific. And, you know, if we could get that done for next year, you know, I think that'd be great. Just so that it avoids confusion like tonight, because when we hear things that come before us, you know, they really need to be specific so that questions and concerns don't come up. So, you know, just for next time, if we could just be a whole lot more specific in our policies, I think that council would appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other councilor comments or discussion? Okay, so we have a motion from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Not in favor?
I apologize, not in favor.
Not in favor.
Counselor John L. Ritchie.
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vigil.
For the motion.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez.
In favor?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides.
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy D.D. Valdez.
For the motion.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
Yes, for the motion.
Motion carries.
All right, very well. City Manager, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Thank you for approving that for our city employees. Next item on the agenda, I'd like to take a moment to recognize an employee that has done and gone above and beyond the call of duty in regards to her scope of work and her daily job duties. Miss Shannon Sandoval, our HR generalist, specifically now because of the state requirement of getting 100% benefits paperwork done. I'm sure that everybody behind the dais has dealt with Miss Sandoval and her professionalism to get this job accomplished and any other duties and requests that has been bestowed upon her. So with that, I'd like to recognize Ms. Shannon Sandoval for the Employee of the Month for dedication to the service to her fellow employees and to the city of Espanola. I'd also like to yield the floor to her direct supervisor, HR Director, Ms. Sally Baxter.
Sandoval, thank you so much for all of your hard work. As City Manager said, we've enjoyed coming to you and you harassing us to make sure that all of the paperwork gets done. So that's what it takes. We appreciate it. Okay, so that concludes City Manager comments. We'll now move on to business with visitors. Today we have a presentation by, let's see, my apologies here. I believe we have, well, it was originally scheduled to be with Mr. Adam Bates, the shelter manager of the Espanola Valley Humane Society, and Greg Scargall, program manager of Pet Amigos. Yes, perfect. Come on up.
Good evening, City Council, Elmer Mayor. Thank you for having us. My name is Karina Excel. I am Director of Operations for Espanola Humane. I'm here in place of Adam Bates, who is unable to attend. I will just give an overview quickly of what's going on to the shelter and turn over to Greg for his presentation for our Pet Amigos program, which has relaunched this year. At our shelter, I know the last topic was concerned about our crematorium not being operational. It has since been repaired and is back working again. Additionally, something that we have been facing internally in the shelter is an outbreak of distemper, which is an airborne virus that specifically targets canines. And Ultimately, it can be fatal. What we find because of disease transmission, it is highly contagious in the shelter environment, especially concerning the construction of the way that the shelter is built. So we have been doing diligent testing to find out which pets are positive, which ones are negative, and making appropriate decisions based on those test results. What we can do to combat that is for all pet owners to vaccinate their pets. Our shelter for the past several months has been offering at least 2 vaccine clinics per month, and that is available at low cost to our local pet owners. In fact, we will be having one tomorrow from 9 to 3, and again next Tuesday, the 16th, from 9 to 3 as well. The other thing that I would like to share with the City Council, if you're not currently aware, our spay neuter clinic does offer free spay neuter services to any Rio Arriba County resident. All they have to do is call us to make an appointment for their pet, and we provide spay neuter services for their pet, as well as age appropriate vaccines and a microchip, all at no cost. I will turn this over to Greg now. We have relaunched our community outreach program called Pet Amigos, where we go door to door directly in our neighborhoods to connect with our pet owners and offer services that would help to improve their relationship with their pet. And Greg now will speak more to that program.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thanks for inviting us. Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez, thank you for coming out to the shelter when you did with the ACO. My name is Greg Scargill. I've been hired on since August and to relaunch a program called Pet Amigos. It's a pretty innovative program in and of itself. It's based on a national model called Pets for Life out of the US Humane Society, which is where we go from just sitting back and waiting for the shelters to get filled, dropped off, or providing services to where we actually go out into the community to connect with residents, primarily those that are most underserved. As part of our program relaunch, we conducted what was called a community assessment, where we looked at the demographics here specifically within the city of Espanola. If you want to pull up the presentation here, hopefully all our viewers can also view this. Let's give it a second to go. If you can. Yeah. Next slide. Awesome basic demographics just with the city, population, households. Next slide. Based on those population statistics, we used a national model to populate our dog and cat populations. As you can see on here, dogs is 12,323, cats 14,995. And then it's broken down by households, where we have a few more dogs in our houses than we do cats. Next slide. What we then went ahead and did, just for us to be able to make the biggest impact and to really identify which side of town we were on, you all probably know firsthand here that Espanola, the city, is pretty unique in and of itself. I'm pretty sure that we have 3 nations represented in 2 different counties within the city limits. So what we did was we used the main arterial line coming down Riverside Drive and Fairview to basically create a 4-zone model so that we could identify neighborhoods in those zones to be able to target. Next slide. Go ahead. Next slide. So from this map here, we were able to generate 3 different initial intakes, which the first is in blue, which was staff referrals that came in. We had 5 of those instances. And then we started to generate intake numbers out of our program we use called Shelter Love, which it was the number of instances that we had intakes from throughout the city. So in yellow, that was 3 to 4 instances, and red was 5 or more. Next slide. We then conducted a series of drive-throughs in 12 neighborhoods that we identified as being an area where there was a significant number of pets located. As you can see here in the brown, those were dogs, and the purple is representation of cats. The area that we have started is in Zone 4, the most southern piece, where there was 5 cats and 35 dogs. This is also known as Santo Nino Trailer Park. Next slide. So part of our outreach attempts is we have what we call as proactive. We're going door to door with a overarching mission of locking the block. We also use reactive and indirect, which is word of mouth, referrals, voicemails, and then it's always a follow-up with the ultimate goal of getting spay and neuter surgeries. Next slide. When we talk about locking a block, it's basically a door-to-door outreach strategy that ensures all people living in any particular street have been engaged and a relationship built. Next. As you can see here, it's in this picture, the red actually is day 1, October 2nd, us taking a visual. Every one of those red dots is a stray dog roaming. Unfortunately, about mid side of that picture, there's a purple dot where there was a deceased domestic animal that had actually sat in this neighborhood for over a week. When we talk about locking the block, it's most important that we want to build relationships. That's the overarching mission to our program, is to really connect with people. We don't have this timetable. We don't have an agenda. It would be very different than from you all canvassing of just trying to connect with people, get signatures and whatnot. We're really trying to build relationships with people so that we can truly gain their support, find out what their needs are, find out what their relationship is with their parents, with their pets, excuse me. And ultimately what we see in underserved communities is that the national average for spay and neuter is 70%. What we found in this particular community thus far is it started in the 20s and we are now getting ready to hit 40% spay and neuter. So we've seen already a significant improvement in this community. Next slide. So we have basically basic 3 categories: green, yellow, and red. Green are clients that when we approach them and we talk spay and neuter, they're saying yes, they either have the altered pets or they're willing to get the alterations. Yellow are clients that are on the fence, and red are just people that are like, no, I will never do that. That's not something I want. Next slide. Go ahead, next slide. So part of our program overview is, again, Pet Amigos is a community outreach program. It's designed to extend animal welfare resources and information to pet owners that are underserved and overlooked within the community. Next. Our team approach when we interact with the public is always respectful and accepting, understanding that most people love their pets regardless of social economic status and variations in culture. Throughout this non-judgmental method, we help elevate the human-animal bond and foster healthy relationships between people and their pets. Next slide. So the key for us is to establish trust with pet owners and the community at large. Our mission is to improve the overall relationship with people and their pets. And our community goal is to extend the reach of animal welfare services, resources, and information and support those underserved within the city of Espanola. A real quick rundown of our scope of practices is we are looking to identify hotspots within the city limits. We are going to conduct door-to-door activities. We coordinate spay, neuter surgeries along with vaccinations. We're providing transportation to the clinic for pets attached to those families that are underserved. We want to provide limited food support, fence repairs, pet houses and straw, and we plan to coordinate community events along with giving out various supplies from leashes, collars, jackets, and even toys. Next slide. So we've conducted what's called a TNR. It's called a trap, neuter, and return. The first colony that we visited was an elderly couple, and initially we were thinking about 16 cats. We landed up trapping 25. None of those cats had been previously altered, which means 25 can become 250, 250 become 1,000 pretty quickly. So we were fortunate enough to get a handle on this. And as you can see here, the impact is $500 per feral cat. So that's a community impact of $12,500 for this single operation. We have since been going door to door at Santo Niño since October 2nd. So we just recapped our first month there. There's 100 homes in the area. We're at about 50% right now. We've already transported 10 dogs, 1 cat for surgery, handed out 88 pounds of food. We've conducted 2 fence repair projects, some collars, leashes, dog houses, food bowls, 2 deceased animals. And what you can't quite see there in our first month of impact is we have over $6,300 and about $25 worth of community impact. One of the greatest things that I've seen in this community, and I have a lot of connection here in Espanola, is the human suffering. What we're realizing right now is that when you talk about the basic essential needs of human beings, and those aren't present, and I'm talking food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter are not being present in the homes that we're visiting. Elderly folks that have not had water on for days, weeks, months, and even years. And yet when you look to the animals that are attached to them, we know that the suffering's even greater. And so this is really a revolutionary idea that Karina has really visualized to say, we want to make an impact in this community. We want to build a coalition of leaders, of organizations, of businesses to really improve the health and wellness of this city. And it really starts with connecting and breaking the ice by connecting people and their pets. So when we are going there, yes, we're trying everything we can to address the animal concerns, but that is not our sole purpose. If we see human suffering and we can help to address those needs, we're willing to do that. We just hired on our 3rd team member for our community outreach team who has a social worker background. So we're fortunate enough to have that type of expertise out in the field. So we are we're very grateful to be out there each and every day. It's truly a humanitarian project that's happening right here in your community. So we're grateful to be a part of it. And thank you so much, Mayor, City Council, for inviting us.
Thank you very much for all the hard work that you're doing in the community. You know, it really means a lot when we put names to the faces and you exactly get to see what's going on. Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Greg, for the presentation, and thank you for the work you're doing in our community. Could you touch base a little bit on volunteerism, or give out a phone number where anybody that wants to volunteer to go out with you people on the weekends could do so, please?
Yes, definitely. Volunteers are welcome. Donations are welcome right now. We do have a goal to put together a food bank for animals because the need is great right now. So please reach out to us, 505-692-3031. You can reach out to the shelter too. Just ask for the Pet Amigos team. Go to espanolahumane.org. You can reach out to us through any of those ways. But yes, we are looking for volunteers. Anybody, you don't have to come out into the field, but if you'd like to come out into the field, we welcome you to go door to door and actually see what's happening in your own backyard in our community. We also have availability though for those of you that want to work remote, maybe do follow-up calls, anything to assist with what we're doing. And again, if you need a pet, we got lots of pets too. We got to plug that piece too. We got lots of amazing pets. The shelter is full But please, if you have a warm, safe home and a big heart for an animal, please just reach out to us and give us a look. Come by. I think we welcome tours. We're welcome to have any of you, Mayor. We'd love for any of you to come by. If you haven't been by the Espanola Humane Shelter, to view not only a shelter, everybody thinks that we're just a shelter, but we have a full medical clinic. And it's a pretty impressive place, what we're able to do there, the numbers that we're pushing through this community to really make an impact at zero cost to low cost is incredible. And it's really a testament to Karina, our director, Bridget, and just the hardworking staff that we have show up every single day.
Thank you. Yes, Counselor, go ahead.
Thank you, Greg. When you guys go out there and you're working on building that trust with that pet owner or whatever, you guys have vaccinations on hand that you guys give while you're out there, or do you give them information to get to the clinic?
That's a great question. Today was actually the first time that our team was doing distemper vaccinations, pre-vaccination on site today. I have pictures. It was the first time. And our thing is because we have scheduled these pets to come in for surgical, we want to make sure that they're protected. The thing is most of these animals that we're coming in contact with have never been to a vet, have never had vaccinations. And so we're actually taking that extra step. And it came out of a manager's meeting today. We implemented it. So we're pretty quick moving to get things done.
Thank you again, Greg, and thank everybody at the shelter. I had an opportunity to sit through this presentation. I felt it was important for the whole governing body to understand what they're doing and what the impact is to our community. And not only to the constituents of the city of Espanola, but the greater Espanola area at large. I mean, I know that there are people from Santa Fe County and up north that do come in to utilize the services at that place. I would ask my fellow counselors and mayor if you get a chance to tour the shelter at any time to go by, because what they're doing is really incredible work. And I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you, Counselor.
Counselor John Ritchie, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you again for all the work you guys are doing for our community. And I'm a testimonial. I've gotten 3 of my babies from the shelter, and I've bought a purebred once, and our shelter babies are more beautiful. They're somehow they appreciate and understand where their situation, and they're just beautiful animals. And again, I want to thank you for all the work you've done. And can you repeat the phone number again for us?
692-3031.
Thank you.
505-690-3031. And again, thank you, Counselor, for adopting. I have a shelter puppy too, and she's got a heart of gold, and it's an amazing opportunity.
Thank you again. We appreciate you coming before the body tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Counselors.
All right, next we have before us the Espanola Fire Department, IAFF number 4399, presentation of breast cancer awareness donations. Mr. Wickersham.
Good evening. Mayor, City Council, community members, thank you for having us. Before you, we're going to give out our breast cancer donations that we received from the breast cancer sales, from our breast cancer t-shirts that we sold. This year we had a record sales. Toby Morphine was the design. He was the designer that designed our shirts this year. Usually we give the money to Northern Strides, but they're dissolving their entity. So this year we're going to give back to the community. This year we raised $4,500. So it was a record sales. It was amazing. We ordered 500 shirts. The first week we sold out right away. We ordered another 100. We were sold out before we even got them. So it was amazing. I want to thank the community. I want to thank the businesses. A lot of local businesses actually purchased the shirts. I want to thank Del Norte Credit Union, Guadalupe Credit Union, Century Bank, La Cocina, James Co-op, El Reyes Excavating, Espanola Public Schools Admin, and Joanne's Restaurant, and also Zia Credit Union. We have a member of Zia right here that they're always willing to help us when we need donations. So I want to thank these local businesses and the community for helping us. We raised a lot of money, $4,500, so we want to give back. So we found 4 individuals that we want to give $1,000 to, and then 1 individual will give $500 to. 3 of the individuals actually have breast cancer. The 3rd individual is a kid or young male that has cancer. They're here tonight. The first one was Denise Buenavides. She came to us, and her niece has breast cancer. She's a local resident. She reached out to us, so we're more than happy to donate $1,000 to Denise Buenavides. So I believe she's on Zoom tonight. It's Destiny Herrera. And if you want to say something, Denise Buenavides, Councilor Buenavides.
Sure. Thank you so much to the entire fire department for reaching out and for allowing me to have the honor tonight to speak on behalf of my niece. Hopefully she can say a few words. She's out there. I see her. Dee, I want you to know who's here tonight supporting you. Grandma Angie's here, your mom, your dad. Try to keep it together. Uncle Dwight's here. Janet's here. We love you. This was probably one of the biggest shocks of our entire life. But as her mama would say, and I'll ask for forgiveness, this little girl's a badass. She's a warrior. She's gone through this like you guys would not believe. She has had radiation. She's had chemo. She's doing immunotherapy. She could not be here with us tonight. She'll be here with us tomorrow. I can't say enough about this little girl. When we got the news, we were shocked. We were shocked. And then no longer did we get the news. A few weeks later, we got even worse news. But Dee, we want you to know that you don't fight alone. I know you know that, baby girl. We're all here for you. We'll see you tomorrow. We have the event coming on Sunday. We're here to do anything and everything for you. You know that. So your family's here in chamber tonight. Your mom and dad will receive the check for you. Love you. Can't wait to be with you. Big heart. Thank you. Thank you, fire department.
Thank you so much.
$1,000 and a gift also. So,
Yeah, my brother and my sister-in-law are here. Oh, Grandpa Ben's here too, Dee. Sorry, sorry, Dad.
I can't see much, but hello, everybody, and thank you so much. It means so much. I appreciate the support.
No problem. Thank you.
You see now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we like keeping it local. We like helping out the residents of the valley. And that's what our mission was from the very beginning. This is our 10th year selling shirts. That's why this year we made it special. We got Toby Morphine to design the shirts. And we're proud and we're glad that we can help out the community. The next one, she couldn't be here tonight, but she's a city worker. She's been here for many years. And so we'll donate $1,000 to her. She's one of our own. She's a city employee. So we'll make sure she gets that tomorrow. The third one is actually for Xavier Trujillo, and his family is here. He's a lieutenant, a retired lieutenant actually, with Santa Fe County Fire Department, and his son is battling cancer. You want to come up here, Trujillo? The whole family.
Mayor Sanchez, honorable members of the city council, thank you so much for having us this evening. My name is Patrick Trujillo. I'm the proud father of a warrior. This is Melanie, Xavier, and Maddox, and one of our sons couldn't be here. On September 11th, 2019, our lives were changed forever. After several trips to a local hospital, it was told that they couldn't do anything here. They took us down to Albuquerque. We were told that our son had swelling in the brain and probably would not make it. So after our due diligence, they just said that they could provide comfort care. We didn't accept that. We were his advocates and we pushed to go somewhere else. Children's Hospital of Colorado sent down a fixed wing airplane, flew Xavier out, who at the time was 2 years old, and mom to Denver. Within 6 hours, by the time I drove up there with another relative, he was having brain surgery. He was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor in the center of his brain that unfortunately there is no current cure for. Pediatric cancer gets a small percentage of all funding that exists right now for cancer research. It's actually only about 5%. So individuals like Wick and his team of firefighters that donate, make these donations, make it all possible for us to go to centers where they specialize in childhood cancers. UNM doesn't have a pediatric neuro-oncologist, so the closest center is Denver for us. I want to say thank you, especially to the fire department, knowing what they go through, knowing what they do on a day-to-day basis, but then taking it a step further beyond the confines of their 24/7 call to duty. They're doing it on their personal time. They're pushing it out. They're getting there. They're selling these things. They're identifying people within the community that need these services, that need this assistance, that need this help. When you talk about heroes, these guys are the heroes. Okay. These guys are the heroes that make it all possible. For us, we just got back from Denver. A previous donation helped with that. Okay. Last time, Wick ran into my wife, Melanie. We were buying a car seat. We spent a lot of time on the road going back and forth for chemo down in Albuquerque, as well as chemo at home and in Denver. So these things help lessen the burden. Insurance, as you know, doesn't cover everything. There's creams, there's experimental therapies, there's homeopathic therapies, there's everything that we can do as parents not to accept the prognosis that was given. You may have heard of glioblastoma. His is a glioma, which luckily, thank God, it's a grade 1. So it's a much slower growing tumor, but unless the good Lord gives us a different path, this is something we're going to battle for a long time. So donations like this, support from the community, make it all possible. So again, this team of firefighters that I've worked with loosely throughout my tenure at Santa Fe County, Wick, directly, have made it all possible. And I'm so thankful for you guys for thinking of our family, and you make the battle easier. So thank you.
You have a GoFundMe if you want to say what that GoFundMe is.
I wouldn't know. I think it's just Xavier Trujillo on GoFundMe. So we're thankful for anything, and just even the prayers that people give us, the blessings, the consolations, the conversations that take place, the stories of people in the community that have the similar battles. When we all come together, that's where we make real strides. And so just thank you to all you distinguished members, as well as to the heroes in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So yeah, we like keeping it local. We were going to give to the Children's Hospital, but we opted on this because he's one of our own. He's here in the Valley. We like helping the Valley. The third, so let's go with, Margaret Marquez. So I was on a call just a few weeks ago and ran into this individual, and we wanted to help her. So we have a gift for you and $1,000 to help you. So thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate it. So the next $500 we're going to donate is to an individual that was in an accident in NBC. He was 17 years old. He had a hip fracture. He's still in the wheelchair. He's one of our own, I think Baca's nephew, I believe. So we're going to give him $500 to help him with his recovery. I think that's all I have. I really appreciate everybody and people that donated and purchased shirts. Like I said, the local businesses were huge. Individuals that purchased shirts, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you to the fire department for selling. Alex Swazo for the last 2 years has been involved and has been selling the shirts for us. So hopefully we can do bigger and better things next year. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Wick.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'd like to have my brother and my sister-in-law maybe come up and say a few words on behalf of my niece, Destiny. And then we'd also love for you to come up, if you would, and say a few words and just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey, if you would.
So hello, everyone. I'm Dwayne Adetta. This is Rhonda. We're parents for Destiny, who could not be here today. Look what you started over there. She is online, or she was online. So she's in the process of making a very long journey to Espanola from Alaska, USA.
Yes, this little stinker decided to move away from us 4 years ago, and I've been out to visit her twice, and I can understand why she loves Alaska, but this is one of the hardest things that we've had to dealing with a child that has cancer, and it's so far away. And thank God for, FaceTime and texting and messaging, and she's, like Denise said, she's handling this like a little badass, and she does her chemo, and 3 days later, she has a few really rough days where she's nauseous and very fatigued. And then on day 4, she's out hiking and kayaking, and she's just a little badass. And she posted something a few weeks ago, and she said, "Feeling low, climb higher." And a friend of hers in Alaska created this beautiful, I don't even know how to explain it, but they took a hoof of a moose and they etched her face on it. And then they attached that hoof to the button where the antlers are attached, the white button, attached that hoof to there. And on the bottom, they quoted her and said, "Feeling low, climb higher." And it just moved me, and how strong she is, and just so motivated and so driven. And, I tell her, just please rest, please, lay down and rest. And she said, "No, Mom, I just rest when I need to. And the rest of the time I need to be up, and I'm not going to be sick in bed." And I'm just so inspired by her. And I feel like she's just really set the bar really, really high for anybody battling cancer. I mean, she needs, we need to follow her lead. But on that note, I did take her quote and had some stickers made with that quote, "Feeling low, climb higher." In fact, I think Janet already left, but her son Jared Apodaca did them for us. And we'll have some for sale on Sunday, along with another really nice image that he put together. And it really, it just describes her completely, and all her loves, kayaking and her dog and hiking and being out on the water and in the mountains. And so we would love for you all to join us on Sunday, just to honor her. And again, a little fundraiser. We've been so blessed with so many donations of items that we did a raffle. And then we also have so many items that we're doing a silent auction. So we have been blessed. So many people have reached out. I mean, daily, I have people texting me, seeing how I am, seeing how she's doing, asking us if we need anything, offering things. It's just moving, and it's amazing. And I feel like our family is blessed. I mean, in this really awful, dark place that we've had to go to, we're also blessed. And I ask that everyone keep her in prayer, because I know he's hearing them, and she wouldn't be handling all this as well as she has been if it weren't for all the prayers.
In addition to that, I just want to take some time to thank her extended family in Alaska. They've been incredible. At the beginning, I was just beside myself and saying, "We have to get her home. We have to get her home. We have to get her home," because she's 25 years old, and she can't be up there by herself. And then I watched a video that they did. Ron was up there. And I was just in shock at some of the things that those people have done for her, and the amount of money that they raised, and the outpouring of support, and just the items that they've done and made in her honor is just incredible. So I just want to take some time to thank all of her extended family in Alaska for all the support and help that they've given to her and to us throughout, this difficult time. So I just want to thank them as well.
And thank you to the fire department. Thank you very much.
You're welcome to speak.
Hi, my name is Margaret Marquez, and I am 43, and I was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer in February, and it's been really tough. You know, doctors going back and forth to Albuquerque, so many appointments. Going through chemo has been hard for me. So, I get sick, weak, tired, but I don't let it get to me. I still keep going. You know, my grandson has me, and my daughter's been there for me. I have 3 other kids, and they also have been there and for me and stuff. But she's been going with me to my appointments and stuff. But it's been really tough. It has. And her name is Desiree.
Thank you very much for being brave enough to come up here and be part of our family. And thank you, firefighters. For
Yeah, I want to
making that
say
happen.
thank you. Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks again for everything that you guys have done, and thank you for the presentation that you've given us today. And God bless everybody. And if you need anything, please don't be afraid to ask. We'll now move on to items proposed for council consideration and discussion. We have some items for some action items. We'll start with the consideration of approval of the agreement between the City of Espanola Municipal Court and Tyler Technologies. Here before us, we have the presentation by His Honor Judge Martin Martinez.
Mayor, council members. I'd like to begin by giving you an overview of the services that the court will be purchasing from Tyler if this purchase is approved by the council. First, we have what is called the in-court suite. That is the actual program, the interface. That is what the staff will use. That is what the staff will use to enter their data, to access the data, to make the reports. Basically, that would be sort of like your Microsoft Word. Has all the interface and all of the features that we will need to use in order to access a program. Second, we'll have a cashiering and a scheduling system that'll come with it. The cashiering, they're both self-explanatory, except to the extent that the cashiering system in due time, we will seek to integrate it with Cassell. When we do that, the entries that we make in our cashiering system will integrate with Cassell, and Cassell will automatically create the court's general ledgers. Regarding scheduling, of course, that's standard schedules, but by the same token, it'll be used for reporting, and it'll be used for determining our non-compliant defendants. So we can always identify those who fail to appear or fail to comply. The output director through Tyler Content Manager up there. Our system is going to be completely on the cloud and paperless. What that means is that eventually we will be able to sign all pleadings and all documents over the internet. So we will be planning to go completely paperless as we progress with this project. Virtual court. Virtual court is very similar to Zoom, except it will be much more secure, and it will, of course, be tailored to the court system. Tyler University. We will have constant online training for all of the court staff. It'll be available at any time, and it'll cover the entire Tyler process. The project management that you see there under other services, if it's up there, that project management is what will actually take place when we install and implement the program. The court staff, myself, my manager, and in fact, Mr. Gomez here, we volunteered his services. He will be our technical advisor. So our office will have a project management team that will coordinate with Tyler's project management team as they install, implement, and eventually get the operation fully functional. The conversion service, I discussed before that we will have to convert all of our sleuth data into Tyler host. And again, we'll need to run sleuth for approximately 9 months to a year because Tyler will take that long before it becomes fully functional. But we will be converting all of the data from sleuth to Tyler. That includes court case management system, warrants and judgments, and the court fees, payment plans, restitution, conversion. That's bond conversions or bond restitution. Now, all of this activities that I am discussing will be interrelated. By that I mean, whatever we're working on at any one time, we can immediately access whatever other program we may need for either an input of data or to create reports, to schedule additional sessions that we may need. For example, defendants are non-compliant and we have to issue summonses. We can instantly calendar those summons dates. And then if they fail to appear, we can schedule we can create the non-compliant report and deal with those defendants accordingly. On the next page, there is a Topaz signature pad. That is the hardware that we will be using to sign documents online. All pleadings will be signed by staff, the judge, and defendants online, if we choose to go that route. Because we also have the option, of course, to at least keep a portion of the court system hard copy. And we may just do that. But we do have the option of going entirely paperless with this system. An overview of the schedule to implement this program. The first month or so, it'd be just what they call initiate and plan. That's where we get together with the Tyler people. We let them know what we need, and then they tell us what the services they have and how we can implement them. Assess and define similar, except substantially more detail. Now, preparing the solution, that goes from month 2 to month 7. That's going to be one of the primary projects that we'll be undertaking, and that has to do with actually getting the Tyler services incorporated into the court's needs. Month 7 through 10 will be what they call production readiness, which is where we begin to actually incorporate everything that we've done into a workable program. And production is the final step. Anticipate that month 10 to month 12. That's when we bring the project to its conclusion and it becomes fully functional. A brief review of the cost, mentioned this at the last meeting. The court will be financing this project from the Judicial Agency Fund. Currently, it budgeted at $70,900. I did ask you folks to consider increasing it to 80,000 for next year because it is going to set us back quite a bit in terms of our technology. Of that, we have a balance of 60,360. If we subtract the non-transferable budget items, and we have the sleuth maintenance fee, $3,557, which we will have to pay for the one additional year because we will need to continue to run sleuth until we transfer to Tyler. Polycom. I believe I may have told you the last time I was here that our video gear broke down, so we're working on borrowed equipment, and that's essential for arraignments of defendants who are incarcerated, either pursuant to complaints or warrants. Well, we had already ordered the repairs, and we'd been told that it might take as long as February before the gear came in. Well, fortunately, we got the good news last week. We actually already now have the hardware at the courthouse, and we're just waiting for the folks from Polycom to come in and install the equipment. Nevertheless, that will cost us $12,659. That leaves a balance of $44,143, which we will then have to apply to Tyler. Tyler, one-time fee for setting up the system is $38,120. They have agreed to split that one-time fee over a period of 2 years. So for 2021, the one-time fee for that will be $19,060. Now, this is one that is unavoidable, but there will be a recurring yearly fee of $19,938 for a period of 5 years. So for 2021 and 2022, the court will have to pay $38,998, half the one-time fee plus the recurring fee split over 2 years.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion of approval from Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez with a second from Counselor John Ritchie. Couple questions. So in 2021, correct me if I'm wrong, we would need $38,998 for the program.
That is correct, sir.
And then the same dollar amount for 2022.
That is correct.
And that includes the one-time setup fee is and the recurring $19,938.
That's correct. Half of the one-time fee for each year. Yes, sir.
Okay, so then, and please refresh my memory. You mentioned something about requiring $70,000.
The financing for Tyler is going to come out of the court's judicial agency fund. The judicial agency fund is currently at $70,900.
Okay, my apologies. Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez.
So thank you, Judge, for the presentation, and thank you for all the hard work and hours it's taken to get to the point where we might be able to help the courts with this issue. The 5 years beyond 2022, there's an annual fee, correct? $19,000 570?
That is correct. There is
That would be the remainder 3 years after that, correct?
yes, ma'am, the recurring fee is 19,938, and that'll be for the remaining 3 years. Yes, ma'am.
So on year 6, what are the costs to the city of Espanola to continue with Tyler for their programming?
Under the contract, ma'am, the contract will essentially have to be renegotiated at that time.
Okay, one other question, or just so that everybody's aware that we're not replacing Sleuth immediately because they have to run parallel with each other to gain the information from the programming to switch it over to Tyler, correct?
That is correct, in addition to running the courthouse.
Right.
Using Sleuth, yes.
So that will end at the next fiscal year. When does that end? 10 months, 12 months?
We're hoping it might be, say, 9 to 10 months. But the target they gave us was actually 9 to 12 months. But once it's fully implemented, at that point, we turn off Sleuth.
All right, thank you.
Counselor Denise Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. No questions for His Honor, just a couple of comments. I'm highly impressed to hear His Honor talk about the cloud. Thank you so much for bringing that system into this century and for all the work that you do. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I just have a question on the bottom of the bill, scroll a little higher up. There's 2,345 for in-code court suite. Is that an extra cost, or these are one-time fees also?
I am glad you raised that question, ma'am. I stated earlier that we wanted to interface our collection system, our cashiering system with Cassell, so that Cassell would produce our general ledgers. That would be an extra cost. So we are not including it in the system, or rather in our request at this time.
Okay, but that's gonna come back before us, or it's underneath the threshold for coming back to the council and can probably be done administratively at that point because it's only $2,345, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So we're approving the 38,998 for 2021 and the 38,998 for 2022 and 19,570 for years 3, 4, and 5, correct?
Let me make sure I've got the.
Those were 38,998 for the first 2 years, 2021 and 2022, and then 19,938 for each year thereafter for the next 3 years.
That is correct.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres.
Thank you, Mayor. What is the total annual fee that we pay right now for Sleuth?
Currently, it's at $3,557.
Okay, so once Sleuth is done, there is a substantial increase then for Tyler. Okay, thank you.
And that's a good point also, because once we let go of Sleuth, we will no longer have to pay the $3,557 yearly fee, maintenance fee.
I feel like I'm going to ask a difficult question, but this implementation takes a tremendous amount of man hours and time over a period of time that we may or may not have the current sitting judge. What is going to be put in place to ensure that the money continues to be spent in a way that allows for that continued conversion?
There is a payment system that will be included in the contract as to how, as the project is progressing, how payments are made, when payments are made, so the payments will actually be spread over a good portion of the period of the contract. some of the larger payments will have to be paid early on. If I understood your question correctly.
Perhaps I was being too vague. The real question is, should the current judge and administration be there or not be there? There's a tremendous amount of work that needs to continue to carry on beyond that timeframe. And we don't want to put at risk the rest of the work that needs to happen should the current administration no longer be there.
That's a very good question, sir, and that is a question I can't answer. All I can say is, to the extent that I can, for the remainder of my term, I will try to work with Tyler to implement as much of the program, as much of the project as is possible. Beyond that, I mean, I'd certainly be available for advice and counsel after that point, but beyond that, I'm afraid I can't comment, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councillor Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor. Your Honor, I am, for the fees that we're paying, the 38,000 for the first 2 years, is there additional cost for the installation, or is that part of it?
That is included in the quote.
That's,
Yes, sir. That's for the license, the hardware, as well as cloud, and all of the other things that we're gonna get when the project is ultimately completed.
because they're gonna be here, and I would just wanted to make sure I was seeing their specifications on travel, and they're gonna be out of town, and I just didn't know if that was part of our additional costs that will be for their travel, and or if that's all part of the fees that we're paying.
I specifically asked that same question to the representative. There will be very little, if any, travel. In fact, there may be no travel because everything will be done online or over UPS or over the mail. The travel time would occur only in cases of emergencies or situations such as maybe a breakdown, a system failure, or something like that. But beyond that, all of the work between the two management teams will take place over the internet.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, well, we have a motion on the floor from Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez with a second from Councillor Ritchie. Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor John Ramon Vihel,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor?
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
In favor.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Okay, we'll go next to Resolution 2021-45, a resolution approving an intergovernmental transfer of 1993 Ford F-350 4x4 wheeled coach ambulance to the Pueblo of Isleta. Why, hello there.
Well, not Pablo, but good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So I'm here to present you this morning. We're attempting to give an ambulance / rescue that we no longer use within the city of Espanola. It's been taking up room in our bays to store in a safe measure so it doesn't get beat up by the weather, vandalized by anybody else. The maintenance on it is just second to none. I mean, it sits, you got to do maintenance, sits more, you got to do maintenance. Regardless of what it is, it's just taking money out of the city, and there's another department that could use the rescue unit. So I'm here in place of Chief Ron Padilla, which signed it to Pablo Montoya, which turned around and signed it to me. So here I am.
Motion to approve, sir.
We have a motion of approval from Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez and a second from Counselor Richie. Do we have any discussion?
Under discussion, do you have an estimated value of that situation of how much that vehicle is worth at this point?
I've talked to Chief Padilla and he said he doesn't have an exact dollar amount on it. It's just depreciated so much that they can't put a dollar amount on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other counselor comments or questions? All right, well, seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Denise D. Benavides,
For the motion.
Counselor John Ramon Vihil,
For the motion.
Counselor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
In favor?
Counselor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor of the motion?
Counselor John L. Ritchie,
In favor?
Counselor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
We have motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go next to the approval of the lease agreement between the City of Espanola and Dreamtree Project, Inc. We have a presentation by Jeremy Maestas.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Before you, you do have a lease agreement that we received from the Dreamtree Project Incorporated, which is a domesticated nonprofit corporation. Online, we do have with us their Deputy Director, Stacy McGuire, who can give a little bit of background on the work that it is that they do. And then I can answer any questions if there are any in regards to the lease.
Thank you very much. Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, counselors. Thank you, Jeremy. As Jeremy suggested, my name is Stacy McGuire, and I'm the Deputy Director with Dreamtree Project. Dreamtree Project is located in Taos, New Mexico, and we provide youth housing programs, an emergency youth shelter for youth 12 to 17, as well as a transitional living program for youth 16 to 24 years old throughout Taos, Rio Arriba, Mora, Union, and Colfax counties. We have recently expanded, and we have some staff members that are located in Espanola. And as a result, we have been in search of office space so that our staff has obviously a space where they're able to do some of the administrative work, as well as meet with clients and other partners. Jeremy and the city have been more than helpful in showing some options and office space that could potentially work for us. And we believe that one location in particular would be beneficial. It is at the Beatriz Martinez Stroke Center, and it would be one office space there. One of the multiple benefits, I think, would result both for the city and Dreamtree as well. We're better able to serve the community if we're able to be more responsive. And one of the things tied to that, obviously, is accessibility and our staff being able to work directly with community members to support their housing needs.
Thank you, Stacy, for that. And I stand for any questions. Honorable Mayor, if you or the counselors have any questions.
Motion to approve, sir.
All right, we'll go with a motion of approval from Counselor Manny Martinez and a second from Counselor Richie. Any comments or discussions?
Under discussion, Mayor?
Go ahead.
I just want to thank Dreamtree for locating it here in the city of Espanola. I really feel that this is a demographic that is in need of any kind of services to help the youth, especially those displaced. So we look forward to being partners in your endeavor here in our community, and we are hopeful that you will be very successful. Thank you.
Counselor Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of questions for you. Thank you so much for bringing this program to our community. Can you just talk a little bit about how, if any of the students or youth need to be housed, would they be housed out of Taos? Are you at some point looking to provide that type of housing eventually in the future here for for those students in Espanola, or is that something that's in the works?
Sure. We currently accept youth ages 12 to 17 into our emergency shelter that is located in Taos. There is potential for future expansion to, the valley, to Espanola specifically, although it's not necessarily something that we've explored up to this point. However, we have recently established and begun providing the transitional living program in Espanola, and not only to serve those in the city, but those as well in the county. And we do have some agreements with landlords in place currently in Rio Riva County in the city of Espanola to facilitate that safe housing, that transitional living component. So there is currently that opportunity. We are always looking to expand. There is always opportunity to look at additional partnerships, and we would be open to that discussion. You bet.
Would your administration at some point be working with the schools? I know that last conversation I had with Director Maestas, I knew in talking to the schools that there was approximately 100 students that were homeless or couch surfing.
Yes, we do work pretty closely with the schools, both with the homelessness liaisons, and we also have something called the street outreach program, where we have a street outreach team of 2 individuals that provide direct service in the community to those that are experiencing homelessness. It could be youth that are in school. It could also be youth that maybe are unable to attend school, and maybe they interact with them in a park, or maybe on the bus, or someplace like that. But that connection point and making sure that we have that relationship with the schools is very important.
Thank you for that, Ms. Stacy. I'm going to get your contact information from Director Maestas, because I have further conversation that I would love to have with you, to the extent of maybe providing some funding to talk about housing, and something that, we can move forward in making happen for the youth.
Absolutely, Counselor. I'd love to talk more with you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all of those in favor of the approval of lease agreement between the city and Dreamtree project, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very well, the lease agreement is approved. Next, we'll go on to the approval of facilities use agreement for Native American Heritage Month. We have yet again, Mr. Jeremy Maestas.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Once again, I stand before you to respectfully request the approval of a facilities use agreement. November, as many of you may already know, has been federally recognized as Native American Heritage Month. I don't believe Ms. McReynolds, the requester of this, is online with us. If you are online, just go ahead and jump in, but
I'm here for Stephanie. My name is Rachel Begay, and Stephanie was not able to make it, so she asked me to get on for her.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and yield the floor to you.
Oh, okay. Well, we're requesting to use the gazebo there at the plaza for Monday, November 15th, for about an hour and a half. The provost from the Northern New Mexico College had asked us to put together a dance, and we were not aware of that children aren't allowed on campus due to the not being vaccinated and all. So we had to look for a place to host this event that they wanted us to put together, and we figured maybe we could ask for permission to use the gazebo there at the plaza for about an hour and a half on Monday, the 15th.
Motion to approve.
Second, sir.
We have a motion of approval from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres with a second from Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez and Councilor Manny Martinez. Any discussion?
I just wanted to mention the event is called Rock Your Mocks, I think, like in your mock.
Yes, it is.
So that's very cool. We look forward to the event. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you too. Thank you very much.
All right, very well. All of those in favor of the approval of the facilities use agreement for Native American Heritage Month signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Very good. Thank you very much. The
Thank you.
agreement is approved. Thank you so much. We'll go next
Thank
to the
you.
approval of facilities use agreement with Compassion Through Action. Mr. Jeremy Maestas.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Before you have a facilities use request for the use of the Mission for the Compassion Through Action. They are wanting to utilize the facility on Saturday, November 20th, starting at 10:30 to about 1:30. And they are looking at preparing hygiene kits for the needy individuals. And they are requesting the use of that facility. So I stand for any questions if you have any.
Motion to approve, sir.
Second.
We have a motion of approval from Councilor Manny Martinez with a second from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres. We have Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez's hand up. Oh, that's my little hand on the thing. Sorry. I have a little hand there and I was thinking, there it is. Yes, Councilor Peggy Sue Martinez. See, I knew it.
That hopefully we will be, the community will be reaching out to them when we get the Please Help initiative. Please Help Don't Give initiative. This is one of those agencies that's really frontline, really helping with providing meals to people, clothing, hygiene, jackets, blankets. And with that said, just know that anybody that has blankets, if you're cleaning your closets out now during the time of, winter clean out, spring clean out, we all tend to do that. If you have extra blankets that you're not using any longer, please contact Jeremy at the City Hall that can get them to Compassion Through Action, because they're much needed for many of the people that are out in the elements. So just a shout out to them for what they're doing. I know they have a lot of different people that are cooking on different weekends and providing them with the help that they need to provide sack lunches or to provide hot meals. And we just certainly appreciate what they're doing in our community, and awesome, awesome organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Do we have any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, we will now take a vote on the approval of the facilities use agreement with Compassion Through Action. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Very good. Thank you very much. We'll next move on to letter L of the agenda, Resolution 2021-49, a resolution amending the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan. Ms. Diane Hawkes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize. Like City Manager Martinez, I too am out of town on travel, so I do apologize for my Zoom presentation instead of being live in person. However, I'm here this evening requesting approval of Resolution 2021-49. If you recall, back in August, we passed a resolution, and that was Resolution 2021-42, adopting the city's infrastructure capital improvement plan. I stand before you this evening requesting an amendment to this ICIP plan for primarily 4 big reasons that I've outlined in the executive summary. The first one being to increase the project budget for Camino Miramontes so that we can acquire property to address the drainage situation. Secondly, we're looking to seek funding for a technology upgrade for the city of Espanola, which would potentially include the acquisition of Tyler technologies like the courts. And that would be for City Hall, for finance, for utilities, planning and land use, basically all of the above. La Jolla Fire Station, we are looking to increase that project budget, again, due to the high cost of materials now due to COVID. Our project budget has exceeded what it previously was, so we did want to capture that on the ICIP. And lastly, Espanola Police Department, we want to increase that project budget as well. by 600,000, and that would be for 300,000 to acquire vehicles, and an additional 300,000 to purchase a communication system upgrade for these vehicles as well. The reasoning behind amending the ICIP to include these priorities is so that the city of Espanola can have the most accurate depiction of what our priorities are now that we're going into this new legislative session. I stand for any questions.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion of approval from Councillor John Ritchie with a second from Councillor Justin Salazar Torres. For question and comment, Councillor Denise Benavides.
Just quickly for Miss Diana. Miss Diana, we're going to be working together on yet another project. Just a little bit of more information. This is a project that State Representative Herrera has asked me to work on, so I need to put together a project scope for her so we can get together. The goal is to improve the entire IT systems throughout the entire city. So it's a huge project, but as soon as next week, I want to start working on the proposal that she'll present. So let's work together one more time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Seeing nothing else, we'll take a roll call vote on this resolution.
Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
Councillor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Councillor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Councillor John Ramon Vihil,
For the motion.
Councillor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Councillor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Councillor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
For the motion?
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Very much, Ms. Hawkins. We appreciate it. Next, we'll go on to Resolution 2021-48, resolution for budget adjustment resolution to increase revenues and expenditures in various funds. Ms. Ortiz.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the governing body. I come before you tonight to respectfully request approval of Resolution 2021-48, a resolution for budget adjustment to increase revenues and expenditures. The first one is in the general fund, Fund 101, in the amount of $179,266. And this is to account for the GRT tax settlement that we recently received from TRD. Second, we are requesting an increase of $20,000 in the 109 fund. And this is for the increase for the transport services with NMSP and the city of Espanola per the MOU. And I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Councillor. We have a motion of approval from Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez and a second from Councillor Denise Benavides. Do we have any councillor comments or questions?
Your comments, Mayor?
Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez, go ahead.
Anytime you want to bring revenues up to us to approve, please do.
Absolutely.
All right, seeing no other comments or questions, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Councillor Dorothy Didi Valdez,
For the motion?
Councillor Denise D. Benavides,
In favor.
Councillor Manuel J. Martinez,
In favor?
Councillor John Ramon Vihil,
For the motion.
Councillor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Councillor John L. Ritchie,
In favor.
Councillor Peggy Sue Martinez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ortiz. We
Great,
appreciate it.
thank you. Have a good evening.
And speaking of good evening, we have reached the end of our agenda. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight. The time is now 8:15. This meeting is now adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.